Balake.
Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Ron.
Run is right here, everyone. Welcome back for more SPTV, where every day is a great day. Not to be in a cult. Not a good day for Danny Masterson. Not a good day for Diddy. Not a good day for Ashton Kutcher. Guys, I think Ashton Kutcher is finished. Finished, done, son. How many friends can you have who are rapists and human traffickers while creating and running an organization designed to protect against trafficking? How many friends can you have before you're done? I predict Ashton Kutcher has reached that limit. We're going to cover a little bit of ground here. The inspiration specifically for today's video was I was reminded of the testimony, the tearful testimony with his teased hair in front of either a Senate committee or a congressional committee about trafficking. And it reminded me of Scientology. I realized Ashton Kutcher's pulling the Scientology strategy. Now, I realize Scientology didn't create the strategy, but to me, it's the Scientology strategy. Speaking as a former Scientologist, Scientology is a multi-billion-dollar international family-destroying human trafficking cult, which is why they spend so much time and effort creating these fake little front groups to educate people about human trafficking and about human rights. I can tell you, this is one of these things that we didn't even have to pretend about these things in Scientology. We knew damn well that we didn't give a hoot about these Scientology front groups. We knew they were just for show. We knew that we weren't really spending money running around educating people about human trafficking and human rights. It was just for good press, and we knew that. L. Ron Hubbard was very clear about things like this. The only thing to a Scientologist that can ever fix anything in the world is Scientology. Is Scientology auditing, is getting rid of the reactive mind. Running around and educating people on stuff or trying to elect the right people to office to change conditions in society is not what Scientologists give a crap about. They only give a crap about Scientology. But we knew that in order to be socially acceptable, we had to pretend that we cared about this and that, and we would, just sort of pay lip service to it. Like people who were sort of in trouble would go volunteer to work at the front groups and dress up in t-shirts and hand out promo and do photo ops. Okay, so Ashton Kutcher did the exact same thing. He created an organization called Thorn. And Thorn, let me just, I have a whole bunch of things to screen share with you in no particular order, but just since I mentioned it, here is the website for Thorn. We're building a safer world for kids. Child sexual abuse is a global public health crisis, but it doesn't have to be. Ashton Kutcher testified in front of the congressional committee or whatever it was as the founder and chairman of Thorn. Okay. I have in my mind, I generally have an outline of where we're going in this video, but other than that, I'm slightly winging it. But this is the part of the video where I'm going to share with you like a 2-minute segment, even less than 2 minutes, less than 1 minute segment of his testimony. Watch this. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's do this one.
So I'd like to talk about my day job. My day job is as the chairman and the co-founder of Thorn. We build software to fight human trafficking and the sexual exploitation of children. And that's our core mission. My other day job is that of the father of two, a 2-month-old and a 2-year-old. And as part of that job that I take very seriously, I believe that it is my effort to defend their right to pursue happiness and to ensure a society and government that defends it as well. As part of my anti-trafficking work, I've met victims in Russia. I've met victims in India. I've met victims that have been trafficked from Mexico, victims in New York and New Jersey and all across our country. I've been on FBI raids where I've seen things that no person should ever see.
What? Can you even imagine the FBI being like, we're about to raid a facility where trafficking is going on. Please get Ashton Kutcher on their phone. We need him on scene. Stat. Thank God you're here, Mr. Kutcher. Can you please help the team raid this facility and save the victims? Okay, he goes on to give some examples of the things that he has claims he has seen, and I got to tell you, even his description of the things and the videos that he claims to have seen raises a lot more questions than it answers. Okay, so for him to be sitting there talking about all of his anti-trafficking work, and then you go, oopsie daisy, Ashton Kutcher's close friend Sean Combs charged in Manhattan federal court with sex trafficking and other federal offenses. It was when I remembered that he had done this testimony and that it was specifically about sex trafficking, and more specifically, child sex trafficking. And you go, one of your best buddies is a rapist. Your other best buddy is a rapist and a sex trafficker and is being charged with doing that with underage girls. And I go, oh my God, it's just as bad, if not worse, than what Scientology does. Now, I think when all this stuff started to break, Ashton Kutcher's people put out a statement as bald-faced as saying, Mr. Kutcher and Mr. Combs had only met a few times socially. My God, let me share with you a several-minute clip. This is gonna be about 3 minutes of Diddy and Ashton appearing together on the Late Late Show with James Corden, talking about how they met, how long they've been friends, and how they formed the new Rat Pack. All right, let's see if I can share this properly. I was going to show the whole clip, but the truth is the rest of that story is just how they went for a run and the paparazzi took an unflattering photo of Diddy and it inspired him to get into shape and run the New York Marathon or something. But you get a sense of how close these two were. By the way, why are they appearing on the talk show together? That's not normal unless you're like co-starring in a movie that you're co-promoting or something. So to have Ashton's people come out and be like, Mr. Kutcher and Mr. Combs met each other socially a few times is insane. And then I was reminded about how quickly Ashton resigned from Thorn in the aftermath of, during the scandal, when it was revealed Ashton Kutcher had sent a letter to Danny Masterson's judge asking for leniency. Ashton and Mila both wrote letters. But Mila wasn't on the board of Thorn. And because I think Ashton had co-founded Thorn with Demi Moore, and it really had nothing to do with Mila. And he resigned from that board right quick. And I remember thinking, wow, it seems a little abrupt, a little hasty to resign that quickly. And the more I think about it, the more I realize, I think, one, he knew that backlash wasn't going to go away very quickly. But if you ask me, and this is my opinion, he also knew that was just the tip of the iceberg. He's like, if I'm getting this much backlash for writing a letter to the judge on behalf of a friend, imagine what will happen if people actually find out this stuff that I've actually been involved in. That makes a hell of a lot more sense to me. Now, I was also a little sickened in his testimony that I was watching it again today. And I when he mentioned his daughters, I was like, oh my God, when he wrote the letter to the judge on behalf of Danny Masterson, he actually mentioned his daughters in that letter. I want to read for you. This is almost exactly, it was just about a year ago, we were talking about this letter. Ashton's real name is Christopher. I think Ashton is his middle name. Christopher Ashton Kutcher. Honorable Judge Almeida, my name is Ashton Kutcher. I'm an actor, investor, philanthropist, and most importantly, a father. I met Danny Masterson when I was 20 years old. He instantly became a friend, a dedicated coworker, and role model to me, and has remained as such for 25 years. As a friend, Danny has been nothing but a positive influence on me. He's an extraordinarily honest and intentional human being. Over a 25-year relationship, I don't recall him ever lying to me. He taught me about being direct and confronting issues. So wait a second. So Ashton, does that mean he told you about all the raping? Did he lie to you about the raping, Ashton? It's a weird thing to say to a judge in the wake of a rape conviction. But I don't recall Danny ever lying to me, Your Honor. He taught me about being direct and confronting issues in life and relationships head on and resolving them and moving forward. Danny's a person that is consistently there for you when you need him. We've traveled around the world together, raised our daughters together, and shared countless family moments. Not only is he a good friend to me, I've witnessed him be a good friend to others, and the kind of brothers others would be lucky to have. Aside from all the raping, Your Honor, he was a wonderful father, friend, and confidant. As a role model, Danny has consistently been an excellent one. I attribute not falling into the typical Hollywood life of drugs directly to Danny. Anytime that we were to meet someone or interact with someone who was on drugs or did drugs, he made it clear that wouldn't be a good person to be friends with. Aside from Jimmy DeBello, your guys' best friend and drug dealer. But let's not talk about that, kind of like we're not talking about all the raping. Okay. And for me, that was an implication that if I were to do drugs, he would not want to be friends with me, because Ashton knows, guys, the only drugs we do around here is the drugs we give to the women for the raping. The other kind of drugs, though, totally off limits, and that's what matters. Okay, if I did drugs, he wouldn't want to be friends with me, which is something I never would want to risk or jeopardize. I'm grateful to Danny for that positive peer pressure. He also set an extraordinary standard around how you treat other people. There was an incident where we were at a pizza parlor, and a belligerent man entered who was berating his girlfriend. We'd never met or seen these people before, but Danny was the first person to jump to the defense of this girl. It was an incident he didn't have to get involved in, but proactively chose to, because the way this man was behaving was not right. He has always treated people with decency, equality, and generosity. After 9/11, Danny was a huge advocate for support of the firefighters affected by the event, rallying his friends and coworkers to pitch in however they could. Guys, did you know that Danny's biggest upset about 9/11 is that was supposed to be the first Diddy party? That was supposed to be the first Diddy white party that Danny had been invited to go to. Ashton had already been to some, but the Diddy's white party that he was going to throw at that year had to be canceled because of 9/11. Danny was furious. 9/11 had gotten in the way of his first Diddy party. Okay. Danny had his daughter a year before I had mine. Danny set a standard of being a hands-on dad. We've spent countless hours together with our kids, and he is among a few people that I would trust to be alone with my son and daughter. Guys, how do you say that? How do you use that language to a judge that is just, or the judge didn't convict Danny, a jury convicted Danny? How do you use that language in a letter to the judge overseeing a trial where the jury had just unanimously convicted this person of multiple counts of violent rape? A trial at which multiple other rape victims who, for various reasons, Danny was not charged with, multiple more other rape victims testified at the trial. And this is the language that he's using. He's among the few people I would trust to be alone with my son and daughter. He's also a dedicated and loyal husband with unwavering commitment to his wife. We've spent hundreds of hours working together. Danny takes his job seriously. He's kind, courteous, and hardworking. He treated everyone, from the grips to the teamsters to the actors to the caterers, as equals. He showed up on time all the time, and he always pulled his weight. We've also traveled around the world together promoting our work. I can honestly say that no matter where we were or who we were with, I never saw my friend be anything other than the guy I have described. Your Honor, if only Danny's rape victims knew him as the kind and generous guy I knew him, we wouldn't even be here today. So please go easy on him, Your Honor. Go easy on him. What letter will Ashton be writing to the judge to ask for leniency in Diddy's sentencing? I'm guessing none, but perhaps we could have some satirical parody letters put together for the wonderful things that Ashton could say about Diddy the Diddler to the judge when the diddler is, this guy's going to be found. This guy's going to be found guilty. Okay, let's see. Yeah. So since we started this by talking about the comparisons to Scientology, let me just show you this stuff. Just a few examples. Scientology website, Human Trafficking Awareness Conference at the New Church of Scientology of San Diego. Another one, Voices for Humanity, battles human trafficking with Glory Mattapile. I think Glory Mattapile is actually the name of a person. Scientology Forum raises awareness about human trafficking. Oh, look, sex trafficking. Wow. Okay. Here on the Scientology website, or one of the, what are human rights? No one can take away your human rights. United for Human Rights, in support of human rights. You have an organization that has an indentured servant pseudo clergy cast of about 4,000 to 6,000 members who work 110 to 120 hours a week for, if they're lucky, $50 a week. They work 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You don't get Christmas off. You don't get holidays off. You don't get to see your family. There are members who have not had a day off in years. Even if your family comes to visit you, you're not even allowed to go have a meal with your family without prior written approval. This is an organization whose young Sea Org members are not educated. They are not educated. They are separated from their families. They are just nominally given legal guardianship by some other random Sea Org member who will never talk to them or check up on them. Like, Scientology is a human trafficking cult. It is currently getting most of its staff from South America and Eastern Europe and Russia, people who are by and large of little means and actually somewhat desperate to come to America. They come to America with on a religious visa with the promise of, living the American dream, and they are put to work in the hotel rooms and the kitchens and the bathrooms, and they're not even paid enough money. They're paid so little money that they're not even able over time to save up enough money to get home if they wanted to leave. In many cases, their legal documents are confiscated and held in either the Office of Special Affairs or in the Hubbard Communications Office, which is basically the HR division. And reports are mixed on whether Scientology has stopped these practices, or, like, for example, has stopped holding on to people's passports, holding on to people's visas, holding on to their legal documents. But you have a human trafficking organization that puts this type of effort specifically into these types of promotional activities, specifically to make it impossible to believe that they could ever be involved in human trafficking. Like, it really is that blatantly, that the reason really is that black and white. They do these things so that they can go to people in power, appointed people, elected people, and go, what? You think an organization that puts this much resources into educating people on human trafficking and human rights could possibly be involved in human trafficking? That is exactly what Ashton Kutcher was doing in creating Thorn. It never made any sense that this Hollywood actor was randomly creating this anti-human trafficking and sex traffic organization, and then testifying as to how, by the way, the rest of his testimony was basically him saying, how do we live in a world where the United States federal government is relying on an actor, a stupid loser actor like me, to be the guardian, the savior of children being sex trafficked around the world? This cannot be. You're like, yeah, I don't believe a word of it. I don't believe a word of it. What does Thorn actually do? What was Ashton Kutcher's role actually? And isn't it a little too on the nose that a guy whose friends are rapists and sex traffickers is creating and running an organization that he claimed the government was relying on to help save people from sex trafficking? It's crazy. I think Ashton Kutcher is finished. I think Ashton Kutcher is absolutely finished. And I think the reason he resigned so quickly is because he knew an embarrassing letter that he wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson was just the tip of the iceberg. How fast before we see Mila bail on this situation? How fast? Is Mila going to be the new Bijou? Bijou stuck by Danny Masterson every single step of the way until like 2 days after he was convicted. Then she was like, "Bye, bitch, I'm out of here." How long is Mila gonna stick by Ashton in all this? How, like, okay, if people were worried about the Epstein list coming out, how many people are worried about the Diddy list coming out? And, you know, it's been years and the Epstein list has never come out. Do we think the Diddy list is going to be protected as well as the Epstein list? I don't know. Maybe I'm naive. I don't think so. I think we're getting the Diddy list. I think we're going to see the dirt Diddy has on people. I hope so, because it's just unbelievable how all this was going on in plain sight for everyone to see. And it seems like everyone in Hollywood knew about it. Diddy really is the Epstein of Hollywood. It's crazy how Epstein seems to have really stuck to academia and the political world. And there's only been, I've only heard a little bit about the entertainment, people in the entertainment world getting wrapped up in the Epstein stuff. But it really does seem like Diddy was the Epstein of Hollywood. And when you've got Ashton Kutcher sitting there on the couch right next to him on a late night show, like they're besties talking about forming the Rat Pack. And boy, if you're a young single guy, you know, this is the best guy in the world. I think Ashton is finished, you guys. Okay, let's see. We've got some starred comments here. Kelsey Arellano. Hi, Aaron. Happy late birthday. So happy you've been back. Thank you, Kelsey. I appreciate it. Azapa, he also had a dead date. That's right. I forgot all about that. I've done videos about that. He had a dead date, killed by a serial killer that he didn't see or report evidence. Guys, I have a video on this. I don't even know the title of it to tell you what to search for. Okay. In the wake of the Danny Masterson conviction, Jane Doe 3, Chrissy Carnell Bixler, went public and said that she was sitting next to Danny in the car. Danny had Ashton on speakerphone when Ashton called Danny Masterson to tell him that he had just found his date's dead body inside the house where he was going to pick her up. Ashton has consistently denied ever knowing that she was dead inside that house. And I covered this extensively in the video that I did, so I won't try to rehash it here now. But this is yet another example where I think when the stuff started to blow up about the letter he wrote on behalf of Danny, Ashton said, I better jump out now when the only thing people are upset at me for is writing an embarrassing letter, because this truly is the tip of the iceberg. Kathy Leslie, thank you very much for the super sticker. CO Bilf, can someone tell Mila that CO Bilf is single and does not hang out with notorious occult Hollywood perverts? Well, CO Bilf, I think we just told her. Congratulations. I hope it goes well. Victoria Wally, thank you for the super sticker. CO Bilf, Ashton took the deal that Cat Williams rejected. There you go. Because Diddy want a party, and you got to tell him no. You got to tell him no. Mena says, an intentional human being. How Scientology is that? That's not a normal description. Yeah, I wondered if that was just some sort of a fancy, use of that word that I'm not familiar with. But yeah, that's a weird way to talk. And by the way, that would be a weird way to talk even for a Scientologist, actually. Owen says, when you need him to help you move a knocked out underage girl and get rid of evidence and back up your alibi, he's a great friend, Your Honor. Indeed. Devin Laura, oh, Aaron, I've been waiting for this video. Well, thank you for watching, Devin. KC Cat. Hey, Aaron from KC. Good to see you, KC Cat. Casey Cat says, Ashton feels sleazier because he likes to come off squeaky clean. A superhero for children, but then Diddy, Danny, and Scientology. It's like, hey, look over here, not here. That's right. Mage, what are the odds that Ashton's foundation exists to find these vulnerable people for him and his friends? Exactly. Alexander Champagne, Ashton and Mila are literally surrounded by predators. How could they not know? Thank you, Aaron, for this reminder. My pleasure. Marissa Martin, PDX. Ashton knew about Diddy and he knew about Danny too. Indeed. Condor 5150. Isn't Hollywood so sleazy? Other so-called reputable celebrities stood up for Danny. Mila too. You don't want that skank. Oh. Okay, you're talking about Mila. Okay. LM Shaw 768. That letter was more than embarrassing, appalling on every level. And he and Mila only upset as it revealed who they are. Awful people. That is certainly how it looks. All right, everybody. That is all I have on this. We'll keep it there. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Thank you all as always for watching until the very end. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.